Imagine for a moment that your soul chose the family you were born into, not randomly, not by chance, but with the precision of a master artist. Your soul saw this life, the challenges ahead, and decided, this is where I will grow, this is where I will awaken. And while you may not fully understand this now, the challenges you face, no matter how difficult, are the very opportunities for your growth. Being born into a toxic family, an environment that doesn't align with your expectations, is not a punishment. It is a spiritual challenge, a chance to forge yourself, just as steel is tempered in fire. You didn't come here to live an ordinary life, you came to rise above. Your family environment may not be perfect, but it is within these struggles, these wounds, that you will uncover profound wisdom hidden behind the veil of pain. Let's embark on this journey together and understand that the challenges you are facing are the very turning points for awakening and transformation. You are chosen for this, to break old cycles, to rise above every obstacle, and to become the strongest version of yourself. So before we continue with the video and explore this interesting topic further, don't forget to like, subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel to stay updated on everything related to personal and spiritual growth. This helps us bring more content that can make a difference for you. Let's begin with this. The toxicity you were born into is not random. It's a matter of lineage. It's a generational issue. It's the accumulation of unhealed wounds, unspoken truths, and unconscious patterns passed down through your bloodline. And you, my friend, were born to stop it. Take a moment to think about that. Let it sink in. You were not born to fit in. You were born to shine, to rise, to heal. Not just for yourself, but for the generations that came before you and for those yet to come. That is why you are the chosen one. But here's the hard part. To break a cycle, you must go through it. You cannot heal what you do not understand. You cannot rise above what you have not yet faced. And so, you have been placed right in the center of the storm. Not to sink, but to learn how to swim. Not to endure, but to awaken. Let me ask you a question. When you look at your family, what do you see? Do you see anger, neglect, manipulation, control? And now here's a deeper question. Where do you see that energy within yourself? Because the truth is, toxic families don't just hurt us, they reflect us. They show us the parts of ourselves that we are too afraid to face. This is why it is a gift. Because in the fire of the dysfunction within your family, you have the opportunity to see yourself, to heal yourself, to transform yourself. And when you do that, you will transform your entire lineage. But don't romanticize the pain. Don't pretend it's easy. It's not. Being born into a toxic family is one of the hardest paths a soul can choose. It requires immense strength, resilience, and courage. It asks you to face rejection, betrayal, and sometimes even abandonment. But here's the key. Every time you face it, every time you choose to respond with love instead of hate, with understanding instead of judgment, with empathy instead of anger, you are breaking that cycle. To break the generational cycle, you must not run from the pain. You must walk through it with courage and with grace. It's about taking responsibility for your own healing and growth, even when the circumstances of your family make it feel impossible. It's about refusing to repeat the mistakes and toxic patterns of the past and instead forging a new path, one where you are free from the chains that bound your ancestors. When you heal, you don't just heal yourself, you heal the generations before you, and you pave the way for future generations to thrive in ways that were once unimaginable. So yes, it's hard. Yes, it's painful. But it's also the greatest gift you can give yourself, and the greatest gift you can give your family and future generations. The truth is that you have the power to change the course of your lineage. And you, my friend, are capable of that transformation. It starts with facing your truth, embracing your power, and choosing love and healing over everything else. You are the one who was born to stop the cycle. You are the one who was born to heal, to shine, to rise above, and to break free. And when you do that, you will transform not only your own life, but the lives of countless others. Ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped fighting your family and began seeing them as your greatest teachers? What if their toxic behavior wasn't a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their own pain and unresolved wounds? What if their inability to love you in the way you deserve wasn't because you are unlovable, but because they simply don't know how to love themselves. This is where the shift begins to happen. When you stop viewing your family as the enemy and start seeing them as wounded souls doing the best they can with the resources they have, everything changes. When you stop asking, "Why are they hurting me?" and instead start asking, "What are they teaching me?" you open yourself to a new way of seeing the situation. It's in that shift, in that reframe, that you begin to unlock the deeper gifts they have been offering you all along. Here's the hard truth. Your family's toxicity is not a burden you must carry. Instead, it's an invitation to heal. It's an invitation to remember who you are, beyond their projections, beyond their expectations, beyond their pain. It's your chance to step into your power as someone chosen to break the cycle, someone who can rise above the inherited patterns. But here's the catch. You can't heal your family. You can only heal yourself. And in doing so, you create a ripple effect that has the power to transform everything around you. Let me share something deeply personal with you. When I was younger, I used to believe that if I could just be good enough, successful enough, or strong enough, I could fix my family. I thought if I achieved more or worked harder, I could somehow save them from their own dysfunction. But the more I tried, the more I realized that saving them wasn't my job. My job was to save myself. My job was to break free from the limiting patterns that had kept me stuck for so long. And as I did that, something miraculous began to happen. The dynamics in my family began to shift. Not because I forced anyone to change, but because I changed. This is the power of being chosen. You don't have to fight the darkness. You don't have to wrestle with the negativity and dysfunction. You simply have to shine your light. But let me ask you something. What does it mean to shine your light in the face of darkness? What does it mean to love yourself when no one else does, or when it feels like the world is against you? What does it mean to choose peace when chaos surrounds you? These are the questions you must ask yourself. These are the questions that will guide you on your journey to healing and transformation. The most beautiful part of this journey is this. The moment you stop seeing your family as a curse and begin seeing them as a gift, everything changes. When you stop resisting the path you're on and instead embrace it, you step into your power. Because the truth is, you were not born into a toxic family to be broken by it. You were born into a toxic family to rise above it, to heal, and to awaken. Your family's pain and dysfunction don't define you. They don't determine your future or your worth. You are not a victim to your past. You are a soul on a mission to heal, to break the cycle, and to create a new legacy for yourself and for those who come after you. This is your calling. This is your power. And when you embrace it, everything changes. You begin to see that you were never meant to be trapped in the cycle. You were meant to break free, to rise, and to shine. Let's take a moment to go deeper. You see, there's something extraordinary that happens when a soul is placed in the midst of chaos, dysfunction, and pain. The wounds inflicted by a toxic family don't just leave scars, they leave openings. Openings for light to pour in. Openings for awareness to awaken. Openings for transformation to begin. But here's the paradox. Before you can see the gift, you have to confront the wound. And that's where most people get stuck. They resist the pain, they fight it, they run from it. But pain, especially the kind born from family, is not something you can outrun. It's something you must face head on. Think about the wounds you carry from your family. Maybe you were criticized so often that you began to doubt your own worth. Maybe you were ignored so thoroughly that you started to believe your voice didn't matter. Maybe you were controlled so intensely that you forgot how to trust yourself. Or maybe the love you craved was given with conditions, and you learned to equate love with performance, approval, or sacrifice. These wounds are real. They hurt. They shape you. But they are also the catalyst for your awakening, because every wound carries a lesson, every scar carries a story, and every pain carries the potential for growth. Let me ask you this. When you think about the pain your family has caused you, what emotions come up? Is it anger, resentment, sadness? Now the deeper question, what are those emotions teaching you about yourself? You see, chosen ones are not just here to heal their families, they are here to heal themselves. And the healing process begins when you realize that the pain inflicted upon you is not about you. It's about them. their wounds, their fears, their limitations. But somewhere along the way, you internalized it. You made it about you. You took on their pain as your own. This is where the work begins. The work of separating yourself from the story your family has written for you. The work of reclaiming your identity, your worth, your power. But how? How do you heal from wounds that run so deep they feel like part of your DNA? How do you break free from patterns that have been passed down for generations? Because here's the thing, your healing is not just about you. When you heal your entire lineage. When you break free, you show others that freedom is possible. When you step into your power, you give others permission to step into theirs. This is why toxic families are a gift. Not because the pain is justified, but because the pain has purpose. And that purpose is awakening. So let me ask you this. If you knew that your family's toxicity was the very thing that would lead to your transformation, how would you view it differently? If you knew that every wound was an invitation to grow, how would you respond to it? Because the truth is, you are not a victim of your family. You are the catalyst for their transformation. You are not here to repeat their patterns. You are here to break them. You are not here to be defined by their pain. You are here to transcend it. And that, my friend, is the gift. Now that we've uncovered the purpose hidden behind the pain, let's dive into the path forward. Because the truth is, knowing you're a chosen one isn't enough. Knowing your toxic family was a gift doesn't automatically make the journey easier. The real work begins when you decide to take responsibility for your life and your healing. The real transformation happens when you choose to break free, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Let me ask you something. What does freedom mean to you? Not the kind of freedom that comes from cutting ties or walking away. That's just the surface. I mean true freedom. The kind where you no longer react to their words, their actions, their judgments. The kind where their opinions no longer control you. Their dysfunction no longer defines you. And their toxicity no longer limits you. This is the path of liberation, and it starts with a single, powerful decision. The decision to stop living in reaction to your family and start living in alignment with your truth. But here's the thing about breaking free. It's not about running away. You can move to the other side of the world and still carry your family's wounds with you. Because the chains that bind you aren't external, they're internal. They're the beliefs you've internalized, the patterns you've inherited, the stories you've told yourself about who you are and what you're worth. So the first step on this path is awareness. Awareness of the patterns, the beliefs, and the stories that are keeping you stuck. Ask yourself, what patterns from my family am I unconsciously repeating in my own life? What beliefs about myself did I inherit from their words or actions? What stories am I telling myself about who I am because of the way they treated me? For example, maybe you grew up in a family where love was conditional, given only when you achieved something or met their expectations. And now you find yourself constantly striving for perfection, chasing external validation, believing that your worth is tied to your achievements. Or maybe you grew up in a family where your voice didn't matter, where your feelings were dismissed, your ideas ignored, and now you find yourself afraid to speak up, doubting your intuition, suppressing your truth. These patterns, beliefs, and stories are the chains that keep you tied to your family's toxicity. And until you identify them, you can't break free from them. But awareness is just the beginning. The next step is healing. Healing is not about fixing yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the wounds. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning, stripping away the stories, and reconnecting with the truth of who you are. Let me share something with you. Healing is not linear. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's a process of unlearning everything you thought you knew about yourself and rebuilding from the ground up. And it requires 3 things: self-love, self-compassion, and self-discipline. Self-love is the foundation. It's the radical act of choosing yourself, even when no one else does. It's the practice of honoring your needs, your boundaries, and your worth. No matter how your family treated you, it's the realization that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. But self-love isn't always easy, especially when you've been conditioned to believe you're unworthy. That's where self-compassion comes in. Self-compassion is the gentle voice that says, it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to not have it all figured out. It's the reminder that healing is a journey, not a destination, and that you don't have to do it perfectly. And then there's self-discipline. Because let's be honest, healing is hard work. It requires you to show up for yourself every day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's painful, even when it feels like nothing is changing. It requires you to make choices that align with your highest self, even when the old patterns are calling you back. Let me ask you this: what would your life look like if you lived every day as though you were worthy of love, respect, and happiness? What choices would you make? What boundaries would you set? What relationships would you let go of? Because that's the essence of breaking free. It's not about changing your family, it's about changing yourself. It's about stepping out of the role they cast you in and stepping into the truth of who you are. For example, maybe you grew up in a family where love was conditional, given only when you achieved something or met their expectations. And now you find yourself constantly striving for perfection, chasing external validation, believing that your worth is tied to your achievements. Or maybe you grew up in a family where your voice didn't matter, where your feelings were dismissed, your ideas ignored, and now you find yourself afraid to speak up, doubting your intuition, suppressing your truth. These patterns, beliefs, and stories are the chains that keep you tied to your family's toxicity. And until you identify them, you can't break free from them. But awareness is just the beginning. The next step is healing. Healing is not about fixing yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the wounds. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning, stripping away the stories, and reconnecting with the truth of who you are. Let me share something with you. Healing is not linear. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's a process of unlearning everything you thought you knew about yourself and rebuilding from the ground up. And it requires 3 things: self-love, self-compassion, and self-discipline. Self-love is the foundation. It's the radical act of choosing yourself, even when no one else does. It's the practice of honoring your needs, your boundaries, and your worth. No matter how your family treated you, it's the realization that you are enough, just as you are, without needing to prove anything to anyone. But self-love isn't always easy, especially when you've been conditioned to believe you're unworthy. That's where self-compassion comes in. Self-compassion is the gentle voice that says, it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to not have it all figured out. It's the reminder that healing is a journey, not a destination, and that you don't have to do it perfectly. And then there's self-discipline. Because let's be honest, healing is hard work. It requires you to show up for yourself every day, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's painful, even when it feels like nothing is changing. It requires you to make choices that align with your highest self, even when the old patterns are calling you back. Let me ask you this: what would your life look like if you lived every day as though you were worthy of love, respect, and happiness? What choices would you make? What boundaries would you set? What relationships would you let go of? Because that's the essence of breaking free. It's not about changing your family, it's about changing yourself. It's about stepping out of the role they cast you in and stepping into the truth of who you are. You weren't born into a toxic family by accident. You were born into it because you were strong enough to transcend it. You are wise enough to learn from it. You are brave enough to heal it. And as you walk this path, remember, you are not alone. There are millions of chosen ones out there, just like you, who are breaking cycles, healing wounds, and rewriting their destinies. Together, we are building a new world. One where love, compassion, and truth are the foundation. So now, ask yourself one final question. If you truly embraced your role as a chosen one, if you fully stepped into your power and allowed yourself to heal and shine, what kind of life would you create? What would your world look like when you make the conscious decision to rise above, to heal, and to love yourself unconditionally, no matter what your family's journey may look like? This is your time. The world is waiting for you to step into your purpose and shine. And remember, as you heal not only yourself, but also those around you, transforming not just your own life, but the lives of those who come after you. It's a powerful legacy, one of freedom, love, and transformation. So, embrace it. Family is the place where everyone is born, a place that promises abundant love, but it can also be where wounds are easily left, creating scars in our memories that are not easy to heal. However, in order to reach a higher spiritual and inner state, all of these things are challenges we must overcome. What do you think about this? Do you have any stories or thoughts you would like to share with us? Feel free to share in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel for more content on wisdom, spirituality, and personal growth. If you have time, check out other videos on this channel. Until next time.